today we have a special conversation that's happening where we're speaking to couples. This month, we're going to be speaking to couples about NICU awareness and just their experiences and their stories, in hopes that not only that you find something from this conversation that's enlightening to your situation, but additionally that you're able to find, like, if you're going through it currently, you're able to know that someone else has overcome the things that you're in, and that you're able to see your way through. So with that being said, thank y'all for joining us. This is definitely casual conversation. And so if y'all can introduce yourselves, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Cool. Alex, go first.
Well, I'm Genesis Doubledees, and how old am I? 28. Anyway, that's unimportant. From Raleigh, live in Raleigh, all the things. And you?
So I'm Dion Doubledees. Yes, it's our real last name. And I actually born and raised in New Jersey, Delaware. I'm more of a Philly kid. Came down here for school, went to college at North Carolina University, found love, and stayed. So, northern guy in a Southern belle. So, really our story.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, like, so just how did y'all like connect? So I know it's at school, but how did y'all connect? Like, what's that story?
We're laughing because our stories are so different. I think a quick story. He was talking to my roommate. I liked him better and felt that I would be a better option. So I sort of presented it as if like I needed help in math, and he just so happened to be there. And I don't even know how I got his phone, but somehow I got his phone and put my number in his phone. I was like, yeah, hit me up. And I remember him saying something like, oh, how am I gonna hit you up when I have a number? And me saying like, oh, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. And
to add to that, I found it one day, and I'm like, I don't know who this lady is. And then I think the other part of it, which I always find funny, that she omitted in her story, which is she knew who I was before I even met her for the first time.
That is true.
So she saw me and was like, oh, I know, ooh,
I got nervous.
That's what I want. And I was like, so when I saw her for the first time, I'm having genuine conversation, like, oh yeah, she's a friend, or she's somebody I want to get to know. But little do I know, she knows who I am.
I'm shaking in my boots.
She's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely about to go for the gusto now. Yeah. So probably laugh.
Intentionality.
She gave my version, I give her version.
Yeah.
Love it. So that first off, that the intentionality behind saying, okay, hey, you're for me. I know that. So,
it was already destined.
So I guess going into more of your story and everything, first off, how many kids, and do you let's start there. How many little ones do you have?
Yeah, so we have 2. Dawson is 7. Yeah. I like have to slow down because he's such an advanced kind of kid.
Like you're like 25.
Yeah. But yeah, he's 7. We had him our junior year in college. So I think that's experience is what brought us even closer.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Definitely.
Because we
were college kids.
Yeah, we're college kids. We broke. We have a kid. We got to keep alive. You know, yeah. And we didn't like stop school. We kept going with school. We kept working, picked up extra jobs. Like that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, Dawson's 7 and Parker is 2.
Okay, and so when did your, like, I guess your NICU story, like, which one?
With Parker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dawson, he was full term, very full term.
Okay. Didn't come out full term.
Yeah, I went into labor the day before they were going to induce me. So that was 2 weeks after my initial due date. So yeah, he was very comfortable. But Parker, she was 7, almost 7.5 weeks early.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that experience, like, I guess, how did y'all feel in a moment where it's like, hold on, wait, is this happening right now?
So I guess I'll go first. So one thing that I'm grateful for is that she kind of gave us a heads up that she's coming early to a week or two, no, a week in advance.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so
it was exactly a week.
And so we were able to get the
Yeah.
shots to kind of speed up that process. I feel like that was very important for us because we were able to, like when she came out, she was a NICU baby. However, she didn't progress like a regular NICU baby. She actually kind of came around really quickly. And you know, they were like, oh, I think for us, the hardest part was her keeping her temperature on her own. But she wasn't on no ventilator or anything like that. She was breathing on her own, which, you know, again, I feel like that was the testament to science and God before saying, hey, I'm coming early. Go ahead and give me the shots. Let's speed this up. You know, now thinking back on it, I think that was one of the most important parts.
It was. It made a difference.
But then I think a lot of it too, for me, was kind of, I have to worry about my son that I already currently have, explaining it to him. I have to support my wife, who our birth is already hard. But then on top of birth, we got postpartum, that stuff that we deal with. So we were kind of prepared for it a little bit, but now we have a baby that we have never been in a situation. So it was a lot of juggling, a lot of things. So I personally didn't have time to process myself because I'm like, I just need to help people at this moment. But you can kind of give your story.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. I think for me, I was still mentally like working. So I'm still trying to meet deadlines at work or like all those things. I wasn't really like, sort of was going into preterm labor, but I'm still like, okay, but this is due in 2 weeks. And I also have to like, you know, I wasn't necessarily I didn't give myself an opportunity to, I don't know, nest, I guess you can say. I didn't really do any of that really. And what's funny is the day that I said I was gonna nest, I had a girlfriend, she was gonna come over, she was gonna help me get all the clothes and things. And that was when I was having contractions. And I was like, oh, it's just a little pain. But obviously it wasn't. But I think for me, I don't know, it was definitely eye-opening and sort of the pause that I needed. And I'm forever grateful for that because I was just go, and not necessarily giving myself an opportunity to look around and look at the beauty of pregnancy. Like I love being pregnant, the aches and pains and all, like I ate whatever. It was great. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. But like I think with this pregnancy, I didn't necessarily really get to enjoy it because I'm worried about other people's deadlines and didn't really like give myself room. And I think the biggest thing, of course, you know, I have 2 different birthing stories for both kids. One was super late and the other was like, hey y'all, I'm here. And what's another backstory, we chose our wedding anniversary because we're like, oh, it's not around anyone's birthday. It's trying to plan. It's around a holiday. People are, you know, off. But she comes 2 days later after our wedding anniversary. So obviously she doesn't want me to have him to myself. But that's but I will say it was definitely eye-opening for me to say, wow, like I didn't really give myself an opportunity to really let's enjoy it. And it's like, you know, as women, like we know our bodies, and I kind of felt like this feels like labor, but let me just like keep on going because no, this can't be. And I just didn't really say anything. I'm like, that's not a Braxton Hicks. That's an actual contraction. But I just kept on going. I'm climbing ladders. I'm doing the most. I did the absolute most, but it was, I think, biggest word, eye-opening during that.
So that's very unique because you all had a full-term baby first, and then it's like, oh, then this experience happens. So like, I guess mentally, Lily wants to join the conversation.
Come on, Lily.
But mentally, at the end of you know, for women, you all in postpartum and everything, what was the difference of recovery and like what was the difference mentally like for both of you?
I think honestly, I tackled postpartum a little bit differently this time because I knew what to look for and sort of what to expect, and certain thoughts that I might have or certain feelings, like they were familiar. However, I will say I didn't necessarily get to sort of, I don't want to say soak, but like just sit in the emotion. Because it's like, all right, you go home, next day I'm going back to the NICU because, we're doing shifts, we're sitting, so I didn't really have that moment to just sit at home and say, wow, I just had a whole kid early at that. And even, the days after having her, I was in the hospital one extra day or two or something. I can't remember. But because I had this awful migraine, I couldn't even open my eyes. I couldn't go see her. It was like a lot that was happening. But I think I tackled it a lot differently. And again, didn't give myself an opportunity to really just sit in it. But I think it's kind of just like we both, and I don't even think we talked about it, but we just sort of had this understanding, like, we just got to get through this. We got to, Dawson's graduating from kindergarten and we still want him to feel special, all of like those things. We had just bought a house, like, so we still had boxes, like things were interesting. But I will say that I don't think I put a lot of stress on myself then. I don't think I put a lot of stress on myself then, but I don't know. I now, although it was a more traumatic, I guess, experience, I was able to give myself a little bit more grace and really actually tell him, hey, I'm feeling this way. I don't know why, but these emotions are whatever. And where beforehand, I didn't necessarily have the courage to say, hey, I'm feeling sad, or I don't know why I'm crying, or this nursing journey is beyond me. Like, I don't understand how people do this. Like, it's a job. But I this go around, I definitely had a lot more courage to be true to myself, A, but B, really be honest with him to say, this is what I'm feeling. And I don't know how you can help me right now, but this just, so he's not like blindsided, or I don't like blow up or anything like that. So I think this second approach was a lot more honest than, like, even though we went through a lot more, I was able to communicate a lot more, knowing the mistakes I made the first go around with not communicating with how I was feeling.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely say, I think having a full-term baby was already a lot, right? Having a NICU baby for the second time is like, all right, we can expect these things, but on top of that, these are the things that we're not sure about. One thing that everybody kind of goes through, right? So we breastfed. That was our thing, and that's what we wanted to do. The first time going around, I think we made it, maybe 6 weeks with Dawson?
Yeah,
like, and then the second time with, even though Parker was in a NICU, we still made it to 6 months?
Yeah.
So, those types of things where it's like, if you have a NICU baby first, you got to think about what the NICU experience is, and then still have to figure out what it means to be a parent, or what it means to take care of a kid. And so, again, I'm a little bit more grateful for our situation, because we had the opportunity to say, all right, these are some areas that we didn't deliver well on. These are right, we know what to expect. These are some things that we're kind of familiar with. We weren't understanding of the NICU experience, which is, you got to check in, you got to wash your hands to go see your kid.
Yeah.
Somebody's there watching your kid. But,
scrub your hands.
Yeah, I mean,
scrub your
take a bath, take a shower, a bird bath.
Yeah.
And then I think even during that time, I think we weren't, so Parker was before COVID, but I feel like they still was checking temperatures or something.
Yeah, they were.
So, all of that, especially like for kids, because it was around flu season, I think, or we were just getting out of flu season or something. And so, stuff like that, where it's like, we didn't have to deal with that the first time. I mean, the first time around, it was literally, hey, Parker, Dawson's going to sit in there with you for as long as you want him to, in the room. And so, that type of experience is different. Or if you really want a really thorough update, you have to make it at a certain time, which was, for us, I think, was like 8 a.m. And then we get there and you got like 40 doctors come in there and you feel like something's going wrong. Like, why do you have so many people here? And it's, oh yeah, I'm the nutritionist. I'm the person that actually worry about the heart, and I'm the person that worry about the brain. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's a lot of y'all. I don't know y'all names. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna remember it because I'll see a new couple of faces. I just need to know the one point of contact. And so yeah, it's a lot going on. And then they give you all of the quantitative data, and you're like, I don't know what this means. I'm not a doctor.
yeah.
Can you just give it to me simple? Is she going to live? Like, is it fine?
Give me the black and white.
What do we need to do to make it better?
I want to say at one point, Dawson couldn't go in there. Does that memory serve me correct? Or maybe it was like the time that we
I think so.
went. Yeah, and that was like another obstacle, like we wanted to include him in everything and be honest, with him, but like my son is very emotional and we understand that about him. He's such a family dude. He wants to know like what's like all the nuances that's going on, especially with this new baby sister of his. This is all new.
That's his kid.
Yeah, that's his kid. But he was very much invested. So we went through a lot of like times of him crying or him feeling like, oh, like I really want her to come home, or that was like that was a battle in itself to really, keep your own emotions, right? While you're trying to like comfort him. But yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent, but
no, you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just basically, like I said before, it was really trying to juggle everything. But I do appreciate the fact that we did have a full-term baby first, because it was completely new then, and then the NICU part of it now is completely new, and like we want 2 more, so we always like, at this point we should just have twins. So that's like the only thing that we haven't really juggled, which would be phenomenal. But again, we know now what to experience if we do have a NICU baby again versus a full term. So
yeah.
Okay, so that leads into a 2-parter. What did you learn about yourself throughout that experience? And the second thing is like, what have those two experiences prepared you for, like, regardless of what your next little one is, whether it's NICU baby or full term, like how has that experience prepared you specifically?
And can I just say this? Stephen is hogging all the questions.
Okay,
He's hogging all the questions. I'm over here like, he's like, and he's taking everything, but like everything that y'all are saying, it's like, wow, like someone else went through that too. Like, I can't get over that. That is just like amazing. And I have questions too, but I'm gonna let him answer.
Don't worry, we got a little time. We got time.
I'm just kidding. And I'm like, oh man, it's like, whoa, like
we're not alone. And I think like things like this is great because you realize, wow, like we weren't in this by ourselves. Like we're not, like every experience is unique, but at the same time, like this NICU experience, essentially, like big picture is really all the same, like, your village is different, but it's all the same. But nonetheless, I think what I learned about myself, and I'm probably still learning, but like when, in times of like adversity, I don't ever give myself time to really just, and I think I said this before, but I don't give myself time to really like feel the emotion. I'm just like, all right, we just gotta do what we gotta do. And I don't know if is that athletic? I don't really know where that comes from. I don't, but it's kind of just like, all right, I don't really have time to sit here and feel this. I'll give myself 5 minutes a day to really just cry everything that I need to cry out. All right, that 5 minutes is up. Cool, let's go. I just got to keep it going because I don't know. I can't sit in that all day long, especially when we got the rest of the day to go.
And another kid to console.
Yeah, and another kid to console. So I think that's like the biggest thing. And I mean, it's probably how I approach a lot of things, even if it's work, like if I'm like, oh, well, I have a lot of things to do. All right, I don't have time to talk about it. I don't have time to like stress out about it. I just need to just do it. And he reminds me all the time, like, Jan, just do it. And y'all cry, you're right. All right, whatever, you're right. But I think that like, that's like the biggest thing that I learned about I don't think I learned it. It's just like, I knew it, but yeah, it was definitely confirmed because I've always just been that way. But having that experience, I'm all right, we just got to go. Cause I mean, I'm still hurting where I just literally just pushed out a kid. And here I am putting pants on and going out to see my kid. Like, I'm packing coolers, we got snacks, like, it almost was like second nature, like, oh, okay, this is just what we got to do. Yeah.
So for me, it definitely confirmed that I am solution oriented. And so I knew that about myself because I have an athletic background. So when adversity comes, either you can change what's currently going on through that adversity, or you can kind of submit to it. And then that always shows the outcome of the game. And so for me, I looked at it as another adversity point, and we just needed to change that outcome, which is we had a support partner. Also now kind of built into our family dynamic, right? Like people are like, oh yeah, our son loves our daughter and our daughter loves our son. Mm-hmm. We've never had any issues with, the older being jealous or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Like our son, like this morning, actually, we're in the bed. It's like 7 a.m. We're in the bed.
It might be early that, I don't know.
We're in the bed, but I'm like, I think when I first looked at my phone, it was 7 a.m. And they're literally in our daughter's room having a jam session. I mean,
they got kids vibe
going, like to the point where we're down the hall, we can hear the music fully. Like I can hear the words,
ad-libs, and
I'm like
everything.
And then I hear them and they're dancing, jamming, and I'm like, y'all, it's 7 a.m. Like it's Sunday. Like I get it, but she's like, can we get one day where we sleep in? So, and I think that goes in going into the next question, right? It's just, I think for us, it made us realize that we're stronger together as a family. So this has helped us prepare for anything that we have going on. And for us to get through that, it's like we can get through anything. We just have to bond together. And I honestly used to be one of those people where I didn't understand when people said, oh, love, I would choose love over, career and all that stuff. I'm like, you gotta feed these people. Like everybody gotta eat, right? Yeah. Like, so I can't choose love over my career because how do I show you that I love you when you're hungry, right? Yeah. But ultimately I understand now because I'm like, that love can stretch, and people, and it's even stuff that shows that people live longer when they're in relationships. You make more money, like, because you have a higher drive and a higher passion because you are working for something and not just yourself. So it helped me gain the knowledge and to be like, all right, well, we actually can pull together. And so I think for us, the bond of our family can help us get through anything that we get thrown at us next. And we're both challenging people, like we love to be challenged. So we're like, hey, we could just have twins. And then at this point, when we come back to this conversation, we're like, hey, we had twins, we had a NICU baby, we got, because I mean, right now we got a boy and a girl, so we don't care what we have next.
And they are night and day.
Yeah,
night and day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Like, and just like hearing I guess everything from hearing the differences, because we haven't experienced a full-term baby.
No.
Yeah. Perfectly.
Perfectly, this will be the one.
Yeah.
Because it could be kind of a traumatic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no,
sure. So you know how that is, and so yeah.
Like, is this what it's like for every baby? Like,
yeah, like. And you don't even know what to expect because I mean it's so surreal, and I can so relate to you, Genesis. Like everything happened so fast, and I think that for us we were caught up in just life and just like we were not prepared at all. Like we can totally relate to that, you know. So
I think you worked the day before.
I taught kickboxing, like
everything
was happening. Yeah, like baby wear, like come on.
Honestly, we didn't buy a crib until I went to preterm labor the week before she came. We were like,
I think
we didn't buy a crib.
You didn't have a crib. Yeah, did y'all had y'all already had your baby shower?
Funny enough, so we tried not to be selfish because we was like, oh, we got a baby coming up. It's coming in July. We had a baby shower. We weren't doing anything for our anniversary, which is May 25th, right? 2017.
Right.
But so we had a baby shower on that Saturday. Parker came on Memorial Day, which was that Monday. So she literally was like, "Oh yeah, I had a baby shower for me. I'm definitely
that's coming." Cute, but I'm coming.
I should have been there. Like she almost had a guest appearance.
So we had just. I don't even think we had unpacked like all of the things. Yeah, we did. I don't even think we went through like all the things.
We
But
didn't even know we had. Actually, you know, I remember coming home. You were in the hospital. I remember coming home, and I was like, I got to go home because we got like 50 Amazon packages on our door. We don't live in we don't have like a port, so it's not like secured in. It was literally just on our door, and I was like, I need to go get those.
yeah.
And we barely know our neighbors because we had just moved in a month before.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
Interesting.
The baby shower happened. We were still in the hospital, but we had already had Lily.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was.
Oh, so I have one more question. Okay. How did y'all like? So for us, you remember this is probably the most difficult moment of like having a NICU baby is when they say you can go home, and you're like, oh, okay, all right. So where's our child?
Oh, you
And-
talking about like, okay, so traditionally
Yeah.
you leave with the baby,
With the
but
baby.
with the NICU baby, it's like wrapping your head around, I'm gonna leave my baby here with these strangers.
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
How did y'all take that?
Hmm.
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
I feel like my answer is going to be very short. For me, it was hard because she was going through the separation. I mean, because I didn't carry the baby, of course,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it's like, all right, the doctor's going to take care of her. We can get a chance to maybe recover for a couple hours, right? Because I don't see us leaving the baby for days in, because that's not us, right? But I think the hardest part for me was to trying to support her, and she's like, I'm not leaving my baby, and I'm like, well, you can't sleep there.
I was determined I won't leave it.
They're kicking you out of your room because you're healthy, well, to a certain extent, right? Because you still got to recover.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like you're healthy enough where they feel like you can recover, you know, on your own. However, you know, you want to go straight diving into, you know, spending time with Parker, and it's like, I understand that, but you have to get some rest. Like, you finally, she talked about it earlier, right? She couldn't open her eyes, or she had blindfolds on the whole time. So it's like you're finally able to open your eyes. So let's get some rest. Let's get up early. If you want to get up at 4:30 in the morning, let's do it. Like, we can do that. But ultimately, we need to get some rest because we can't be our best selves without, for Parker, without taking care of ourselves. And I'm not saying, you know, sleep all day, but I feel like for me, that was the hardest and the toughest conversation we had to have early in our marriage, because it was literally me telling her like, hey, let's put this off so that way we can kind of recuperate a little bit at least, and then come back to it. Which, you know, it was all, I ain't gonna say it was a fight, but it was more so like me trying to tell her, hey, this is the best way we can support Parker. And it was the hardest conversation I ever had, because it's literally me telling her, hey, leave a part of you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I think at the time what was coming out was, you want me to leave myself here? No, it's coming with me, right? Like, and I was like, I get it, I completely understand it, but ultimately we still have to think about other things as well. You don't have any rest, you're tired, you're literally sitting here, you know, I'm scared for you to drive home. Like, I think she drove by herself. No, did you drive by yourself?
No, you won't let me.
I feel like
I was
yeah,
still
no,
stitched up.
I think your car was there though.
My car was at the hospital.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know how,
why.
but our car was at the hospital. So I'm like, I gotta figure out, I was like, I had to figure out how to get you home, get your car home. Like, I don't want you driving by yourself. And, you know, the whole time she's like, I just can't leave my baby. And I'm like, I get it. I don't want to leave Parker either. Making that clear too, that I'm in full support of what you're trying to say, but it doesn't make sense because you're already on MD. So that was the hardest conversation for me during that time. I'm pretty sure you got it.
I mean, it was honestly like that. I knew it was coming. Like, obviously I knew I would have to leave her there, but I think I, again, didn't allow myself to like just feel emotions, and I'm trying to keep it together because, you know, you got Dawson asking, oh, when she's coming home? And I'm like, you know, I really don't know, baby, but you know, she'll be home like soon. And I don't think I don't know, it didn't hit me. I was fine being rolled down to the car. I was fine getting in the car. It wasn't until like you put the car, well, no, for me, it was when you put that car in drive and we're driving away and I'm looking back like, I mean, I love my son with all of me, but like, gosh, like the back seat's supposed to be full, you know, like we're supposed to have all, like, you know, and I know I feel like I broke down in the car, or maybe I tried to hide it. I don't know, but I know my insides were toe up.
It got real when we got home.
It definitely happened when we got home. I will say, like, Rex, NICU nurses, I called, if not every hour, every other hour. And they're like, yeah, do you want to hear a brief? Do you want to, like, they were super supportive. And like, I was like ready to go back that night. And then I was like,
no, she was packing a bag, y'all. Like, it wasn't like she was ready to go back. She was
like, I'm gonna go see my baby.
We walked in the house, she came upstairs. I was like, you gonna take a shower? She was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm like, she literally was packing a bag. I'm like, well, Jen, like, at least take a shower. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, if I get her here, at least get her to take a shower. Then at some point we can kind of talk her into like, hey, just take a quick nap, right? And then just kind of get some rest. But yeah, she walked in the door, finally got Dawson together, and she was like, yeah, I'm packing a bag.
I had to
So I'm about to go back,
up.
and I'm like,
yeah.
let's just take a shower. We didn't take a shower yet. Like today is
I was ready
over.
to go.
So yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I mean, I don't know. I think the hardest part was, leaving without, this baby that you've formed this bond with. And really, I think that was when I started blaming myself that like she was in this position, because I'm overworking, I'm crawling under stages, I'm taping court, like I'm doing everything. It's like with the position that I had then, it was kind of just like a one-man show. And I'm like, yep, here I am. I have a problem and I'm working on it, but I have a problem with saying no to people. And I'm recognizing that. I'm going through it. But, like that was my biggest problem, like not A, asking for help, B, saying, no, I'm not doing this. I'm whatever weeks pregnant. And by me doing all those things and not necessarily like resting, it's like I didn't have weekends. Weekends were full out work. I'm on my feet 9, 10, 12 hours a day. And I don't know, like I started to blame myself, like if I wasn't working, if I should have blah, blah, blah. But like, no, the Lord, like he works. And this was like a way for him to say, let's slow down. Let's really reevaluate the career path that you think you want to go into.
Wow.
And, like it was, having a baby is great and, fulfilling your family, but it was really like an eye opener for me to say, oh, do I really want to, is this like something I really want to do in my career? Like, is this really my passion? And like having her early, it was a struggle, but it was also a blessing too, because I was able to really, say like, wow, like I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I would much rather go after a more creative venture and a more something that like, really, I don't feel like I'm losing brain cells over, like I would much rather like be in a more fulfilling space, whether that's, being in business by myself or being around other people who are able to like push me and build me up in a different, dare I say, territory. But to go back to everything, the biggest part was the pull off from the hospital for me. And coming back the next day, like we kind of got into this groove, like we would do shifts, night, day, whatever, because that week when we had Parker, Dawson was graduating kindergarten that Friday. So I found the biggest, loosest dress I could find because I'm going to my baby's graduation. I'm crying the whole time. I mean, mind you, I just had a baby, so it's like part of those hormones were still there, but I'm like, oh, like Parker's missing this. And he was like feeling away.
Did she miss it?
Yeah, she missed it because we went afterwards because he wanted to show her his tie.
Oh yeah.
And he started singing his Angels Watching Over Me song. And that was our first.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it was a week. But like I said, the pull off was for me, but still gave me the opportunity to really look back on things and say, okay, all right, we're in this position because of something.
Yeah.
Why are we here? What do you want us to learn from this, Lord? And how can we better support our family? And I think we've always been honest with Dawson, but I think that sort of like propelled our honesty with him and not necessarily sugarcoating or just like, hey, look, this is what it is. We're going to tell it to you on probably a 7-year-old level because his mind is.
Well, one of the other things too that we didn't really highlight with our son is that he's very inquisitive. So he's not just a family guy, but he's also, hey, I remember you said 3 weeks ago, and we're like, all right, cool, but you can't remember your timetables. So I think that was kind of a part of it, right? And everybody has their different parenting styles, but I think for us, we always talked about how our relationship has always been very honest, very transparent. And so we try to have that same honesty and transparency with our kids, to the point even now, like we give our son, we're very open, like these are your body parts, this is what they're called, these are the politically correct words to use, right? So that way, like I remember one time he literally was at the gym and he used a politically correct term, and somebody looked at me and was like, and I was like, he's correct, like he's politically correct. What do you expect me to do? So I'm gonna get mad. A foot is a foot. Like I'm not gonna. No, that's how I would say it if I was an adult, right? Yeah. So it's just, so with that, like we've always had that kind of relationship and conversation with him, and so again with him asking questions, it was really tough. And then kids are kids, right? Mom knows it. Mom knows it, right? So I'm trying to step in like, all right, yeah, come on, man, let's go get ice cream. Let's go do something. Let's go hang out, right? Because mom can't take all these questions right now because mom is dealing with it herself. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to step in and like, yeah, you can ask me, we can talk about it, let's have bro time. And then it's like, yeah, but mom really knows. I'm like, oh, whatever. I get it. But
daddy knows too.
So we just, and I think again, and it even helped me in his relationship because with me spending that more time with him, or me being very, very intentional and saying, all right, let's take your mind off of it too. Like just because we have 2 kids, the new one right now is recovering and it takes a lot of assistance, love, and patience with her. We still have to entertain you. We still got to remember that you're still a young kid. You're energetic. Like our son ain't the kid that just watch TV for 20 hours. Like today he was like, oh yeah, I'm going outside. It's 11 o'clock. Like, do it. Sure. Yeah. So that's one of the things that definitely is a bigger factor into it too. Like having multiple kids and like Jen said earlier, assessing the situation from a bigger scale and trying to understand why it's happening versus blaming yourself versus saying this is my fault. Because I always feel like there's always a gift that come out of anything. Yeah. But you have to be mature enough to receive it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
No. I'll do that. Then. I'll answer that. Go ahead.
No, but we definitely can also relate to that. When you said the pull off, I never coined it, but I remember us being, we were in the Bojangles food line, and we were eating our emotions.
We're not even gonna talk about the.
And we all had on sunglasses. We had sunglasses on. We were like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, and we're just all crying. So, we definitely that's incredible. And then just the question that you all asked, just. Okay, God, this is obviously happening for a reason. Like, what do you want me to learn from this? Like, what do you want me to learn from this? And I think that's the biggest thing with like all things in life, but specifically NICU babies, because it's like once you make it and you see them grow from being this little, little bitty baby to like a full regular size baby. Yeah. And you see how much like fight that they have and how strong they are. And it's just, it's incredible. And it's just kind of like, I don't know where it talks about it, but it just is amazing how they being so small can just endure so much. And sometimes as adults, like we're just like, oh my gosh, I just can't, like I can't. So definitely.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
No, okay.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So we oftentimes don't realize like the perseverance and the things that we're gonna learn. This like even from y'all's story, I hear so much of like God working in other ways, whether it's closer relationships, or whether it's learning new things about yourself. But I guess one thing that you really don't realize is that just how emotional it is for like nurses who are in this situation, who are daily, how the patients and things of that sense. Is there a specific nurse so I'll say Nurse Teresa. She was the one who was like, yeah,
She taught Steven how to swaddle. Like it was like we were in camp.
Well, because we didn't get
y'all are the best swaddle. I don't know what gift.
I don't know, and tight. Like Lily would be like,
I must eat burritos or something. Y'all got the burrito tuck. Yeah. Y'all good at this stuff.
Let y'all know y'all need a companion. You can't do it all by yourself.
Yeah, I was awful at it. Mm-mm.
But was there someone special, like a nurse that really that stood out for y'all, that was just like in your corner the entire time, that was just like, hey, it's all gonna be okay. This isn't anything new. Like, I've seen this before. She's, doing fine. Like, who was that person? How did was there that person? And if so, how did they relate to y'all?
So I go first because I know my wife gonna show me up because she always remembers people's names. I'm terrible. I'm terrible with names. But there's actually two people that really, 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 really stuck out to me. One, she actually wasn't a nurse. She was like a social worker. Mm-hmm. And she stuck out to me because she helped me, because I'm solution oriented. I'm logical. I'm a business mind. So I'm like, we need milestones. Like, if she need to be walking about whatever, like, this is what we need to be working towards, right? So that's all me. And so she helped me because she was like, she kind of helped me lay out the milestones. Excuse me. And that was, for me, that was huge, because I'm like, I don't know, as a NICU baby, like, I don't know where she's going to be at. What does this mean? How does this work? I know she's breathing. That's fine. Like, she's supposed to be able to have her own temperature. I know that's something we're working on. Outside of that, what does this look like? What is this new norm for us? And so she kind of helped me understand, like, oh yeah, this is where she would probably be at 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I didn't know that whole, I call it like preset. I know they have like some type of medical term for it, but it's basically they take the time back and saying, oh, this is where her development is versus where she should, or
she based off of her,
if she was a full-term baby. So for me, that was huge because I didn't know that. And then I don't remember if you were in there or not. I don't know, but there was another baby, because we had like no, not the roommate. But there was, I think in that section we had they had like 20 babies or something like that, and there was one baby that actually passed away.
I wasn't there.
Oh, no.
And so there was another nurse that kind of, because we were in there and we literally saw everything's fine, and then we just hear a whole bunch of doctors just rush into this room. Then they close the curtain, and you hear people in there. They're like trying to basically save this life. And so for me, I'm like, this happened so quickly, like in the matter of seconds. This baby was okay, and then now they can't seem to get this baby back to where it was. And then there was a nurse that came around after that and kind of like worked her way and talked to everybody that was in the isolate. No, the isolate is where the baby sits.
Yeah, so, but it was like a little L shape.
Yeah, in the little the NICU. And so I remember actually her talking to me, and she was like, oh, just trying to check in and see how I felt. Of course, I saw like, and I'm not, most people can gauge like, oh, okay, something terrible is going on. You got all these people running there. Y'all see this like ventilators and all this other stuff. And then we also saw them like bringing the baby out. Not to the point where you're like, oh, I see the baby, but you see a bag. Oh, I didn't see the baby. I saw a bag, and I'm like, that doesn't look well. And so for her to just come around and just have conversations and say, hey, how do you guys feel? Not tell us what happened, but just to gauge our emotions and try to coach us through it, and just like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Your baby, is doing well, and kind of give us more motivation and encouragement. I think that was needed at that very moment, because ultimately my mindset was, oh, this is how quickly it could happen for us. And so I think, those are my two angels of sunshine.
Yeah, they're nurses. It's hard for me to pinpoint any nurse, but I will say, and this is, you'll be surprised, I actually don't remember this one name. I know, but it was actually the security guard. when we sign in. So, you know, you sign in before you like get up to the actual NICU area. But it's not like we hadn't seen each other. It's the same, you know, but this one particular morning, I'm signing in, I got my cooler, I got my, you know, everything. And he's like, you're going up to NICU, right? I'm like, yep. I'm like, I don't even think I made eye contact with him. And I'm signing my name. He's like, I was like, do you have a little girl? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, you won't be here long. And I was just like, looking like, dude, you don't know my story. Like, we don't know. And I think that was like one night where her heart rate might have like declined a little bit or something, or break. Anyway, it was like, it wasn't necessarily a stable night. So I'm already kind of going in defeated. I'm gonna cry. But like I'm sorry, y'all.
No, take your time, because now I'm just gonna be Lord.
His like encouragement, and I never saw that man again, y'all. I never saw him again. But his like, oh, she won't be here long. And 2 days later, they're like, oh, yep, she's good. She passed all these tests, her hearing, her crest heat, her whatever. Like, I never saw the security guard again. You can't tell me he wasn't an angel.
Wow.
Or like to confirm that, like, oh, you sit here defeated, and I've already like taken care of her. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I get that, but he like really made me feel like, girl, get your head up. Like you already served someone who's already taking care of you. So why are you defeated? And I think that was the only day that I felt like, oh, gosh, we here again. Like, we're still here. But like, after he said that, I was like, wow, you're right. And he's like, you know, my daughter was at NICU. He said, I had 2 daughters who was at NICU, and they weren't there long. You know, us Black folk, we strong, but those Black girls, they fighters. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, we're what, day 8, 9, whatever day it was. I don't even know what day it was, but like, you're right. This girl has gone through so much just to even breathe oxygen, you know, like, yeah. So I don't know his name. I remember his face. Like, if I could draw really well, I probably could draw his face. But like, he really just, like, his words is like, oh, she won't be here long. And like 2 days later, she's, you know, so it's, he did something, you know, some type of like reassurance, like, you're okay, you're fine, you're not in this alone. She's not the only one who's been through this, and you're good. We are fighters, and I know that, but that was just that one day. I'm just like, gosh, like, I'm tired of being strong. I hate this, but he made all the difference. Again, the nurses were incredible, but his words of like, you're fine, right on time, really like, it did it for me.
To add to that, you know, it was funny because our first,
I didn't expect
it. I think it was also hilarious, was that our very first meeting with Parker's physician, that's exactly what she said. Oh, she's a Black girl. It's okay. Like, she'll be back on track very quickly, right? And we were like, what you mean? Like, we had a full-term baby. She's not on track. I don't want to hear that right now. Like, we got work to do. She said that because that's literally, we had that same reinforcement our very first meeting, and she's like, oh yeah, she's already doing fine now. And we're like, yeah, she a little peanut. Like, I got baseballs bigger than her. Like, I don't understand. Sorry.
And the kid's pediatrician, you can't tell me that's not my doctor. Like, she was also my pediatrician growing up. So like, she's my doctor. Like, she's my doctor. Yeah, so I trust her with, she's been a family. Wow. Like, I trust her with everything. Like, I asked her questions for me. Like, so, you can tell me she's not my doctor. Was it today we were talking when I first like found out I was pregnant, and I was like, okay, I need to like go to a doctor. I'm like, so I can't call
I'm like, you can't see you. What do you mean?
Excuse me.
OB/GYN what?
No, I was a pediatrician, and I called in everything. And the lady at the front, she's been there 20-some years. She's like, "Yeah, Jeanette, I'm sorry, honey."
And you know they know your name.
21. You're 21. You can't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 20. I was 20. You're 20. You can't. No, honey. I'm sorry. That was a little sad, but yeah, I trust her with everything. But yeah, no, oh, she's a Black girl. She's fine. I'm like, yes, we are fine. Yes. But yeah, but those nurses were great. I mean,
Yeah, they were great.
I will say another 2 nurses, really. There was one, I want to say her name was Mary. Her name was Miss Mary. She was the one who had she had been in the NICU for maybe 20-something years or whatnot. And I want to say this was like her last year, or maybe she was retired, but nonetheless, she was like the sweetest lady. She loved Parker, but there was another lady, I think she was Miss Shelby.
I think so too.
Yeah, when we had to move rooms because so many babies were coming into the NICU, we had to end up moving
into a hallway.
it was another room. It was another
a
delivery
regular
room.
patient room. Yeah.
Yeah, it was another delivery room, and I think a set of twins were in there.
Triplets.
Was it triplets?
It was
Yeah.
triplets.
In there. So we're just all sharing, but she was really, we're just kicking back. I mean, I'm in there, I'm literally taking a final for school, and she's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Do you need music? Do you need something?" I'm like, "Oh, thank you." She was really, I don't know. She's another one who did. Yeah, we had a lot of conversation. She brought me Mountain Dews when I wasn't supposed to drink them. She was amazing. She was amazing. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a long.
No, that was incredible. Seriously.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything else now.
Okay.
I'm at peace.
So, first off, I just want to really just say thank y'all for sharing y'all story and just being so authentic and transparent.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to your own story, but to hear God at work in your story, and it's just it's just it encourages. It's encouraging. At the same time, it's it leaves me in awe of just how wonderful He really is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so thank y'all for just being transparent and sharing. Do have one last question for you.
Yeah, we're open book.
If you can give advice to anyone who is about to approach the storms that you've already overcome, what would you what piece of advice would you give?
I think the biggest thing is embrace it, right? And I say embrace it because yes, it's a test, but tests are either pass or fail. Either way, you still learn from it regardless. Either this is an obstacle that I've accomplished, or it's an obstacle that I haven't accomplished that I need to work up to be able to accomplish it. Because ultimately, with new life, they need support, regardless if it's NICU or not. And so kids bring so much out of you that you don't even know that you have. And I would just say, that's why I would say embrace it, because ultimately you're going to learn so much. Being a parent is so much fun. And I tell it to all my single friends, and I'm not condoning them to go out here and just have babies. What I'm saying is I enjoy
you gotta be clear with some of them.
Yeah, that's why I said that. But it's so much fun because now I think the very first moment with Dawson, we used to be at church, and I'll be just standing on the wall, something so simple. And I'm like, now I look down and I see Dawson standing. I'm like, look at him over here looking like he the man. And then Jen take a picture and oh, you see the picture? And I'm like, oh, he's standing like me. It's literally my mirror.
Yeah.
And then even Parker, Jen calls her Pearl.
I call her Pearl. She's like my little old lady.
I call her Phoenix because she is very fiery. She is the smallest thing in our house, but she has one of the biggest personalities in the house.
Yeah.
She will let you know that I am there. She's going to let you know that I am not tired. Mm-hmm. She's going to let you know who she is and how she feels. And so for me, that I've never been a person that was very emotional. I don't really talk about my feelings much. Like I'll do these and have conversations and say, hey, I'll share what I need to help you. But even like with our relationship, just having a daughter helped me be more loving to her, which most people are like, oh, that's weird.
Sweet.
You're not about to cry.
Sweet.
You're not about to cry. Yeah, so like certain things like my daughter does now, where she's like, oh, I'll just climb and sit in your lap. I don't want nothing, but I'm just gonna sit in your lap. I'm like, I'm working or I'm watching TV, but I'm comfortable here. Like the couch isn't doing it for me, but you are, right? And things like that, where I'm like having a boy, my son ain't come to sit in my lap. My son like, yo, you trying to run outside?
Yeah.
You trying to run the ball around. And so, going through that tough time, it allows you to enjoy the times that you have where they're sweet. And even, we got a lot more life to go, but I think embracing it and understanding, hey, this isn't the forever. And even if your situation is one of those where something happens and it's not 100% recovery, it's still one of those things where this kid is still going to bring you some type of joy, some type of something that's going to make you say, oh, it was worth it. And just once you figure that out and once you find it, it doesn't matter what the bills look like. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how much sleep you didn't get during that months or time. Yeah, because she talked about her roommate, our first roommate. She was there for almost 2 years, right? So they were moving and they were coming back. And one thing I can say about them, they were jovial about it, and they were like, hey, they just brought positive energy, and that's one thing that I would definitely say: embrace it, be positive, and the happiness will come.
Wow,
yeah, I think mine is a little bit more, I don't know, it's not as deep, but I honestly, and it could just be me telling like past Genesis these things, but really be honest and open with yourself. And what I mean by that is just like, if you're having a feeling that's not common or you're not used to that feeling, whatever. And it could just be because like I did go through that postpartum depression, era, but being open and honest with myself was really what made the difference this second go around, with identifying, okay, I'm feeling this way, like, not to be overly spiritual, but I know it's the enemy and I need to like just call it out and be open with it. And, it's okay to feel those things, but I need to really be honest with myself, even if I'm not, in a place where I can tell him, readily available right then, I'm still being honest with myself and literally talking to myself out loud. Like, I think if neighbors would hear, I talk to myself so much, y'all, and I probably sound crazy, but I'm literally talking out loud, because it's like, for me, I got to hear things in order to really believe it. And I'm talking to myself like, you know what, you trying to get me saying, boy, going somewhere, like, get out my head. You're not about to get me down. Like, I really had to start to kind of like, and I'm not hood by any means. Buffalo Road is, yeah, it ain't.
It's the suburbs, y'all. People that don't know, it's the suburbs.
The mean streets of Buffalo Road, but
it's the suburbs. It's like Marietta, Atlanta.
We got a hood. Anyway.
Not from where you're from.
Anyway, the thing is, it's like, I had to really like, kind of like dig deep in myself and like almost like fuss at him, like, you're not about to put these negative thoughts in my head, and like, I let you win last time, but like, you're not about to do that. And I think by being honest and open and saying, look, I feel these, even if I had to write down those feelings, one of the I don't even think I told you I did this, but like, I had one of the days where I'm just like, like I'm going crazy, and I wrote down all the angry things. I'm cussing, I'm angry, I'm blah blah blah. I balled that paper up, I lit it on fire, and I felt so good.
Yeah.
It was great. And that energy or whatever that was, that spirit, whatever it was gone, completely gone. And, it worked for me, it might not work for others, but like, I had to really sort of like almost get angry at whatever and really just be honest with myself. So I think the biggest piece of advice is to really just to be honest and open with yourself. Yes, you're going to communicate with other people, but it's like you have to live with yourself, like we're going to communicate, we've already established that that's how we're going to, that's how our relationship is. We're going to communicate. But if I'm not communicating with myself and being honest with myself, I can't necessarily be authentic to my spouse or my other kid or my mom or my dad or whatever. So, it's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. I can't even lie to you. But I think that was like the start of like, okay, let me be honest with my thoughts, because you go through so much mentally that no book, no podcast, anything can really prepare you for. Mm-hmm. So by being honest with myself and saying, okay, I'm identifying all of these emotions and feelings. Now I know if someone comes to me and they need help, I can actually help them because I know exactly what they're trying to articulate. Because I can feel the energy. I know what words you're trying to form, and I understand, because I didn't know what words to form either. But if you just write it down, whatever song it is that you need to listen to, whatever boxing glove you need to, you like whatever it is that is, like be honest and true to yourself, and really just get back to the root of things. Like I am nobody's Picasso, but art was like always like an outlet. I couldn't go march in a band down the street, but there was like, other than band, it was art. Like, yeah, athletics was always there, but art was always like a constant. So if I'm writing or doodling or whatever, like I really just got back to the roots of little 8-year-old Genesis, who, when I was stressed or in my head, I had a release. So all that to say, be honest and true to yourself, and really, just over communicate how you're feeling, whether it's to yourself or to your spouse, to the wall, to your stuffed animal, whatever that is. You have to get those thoughts out of your mouth. And I know that's kind of not necessarily specific to a NICU experience, but it's, it takes a toll of you mentally, and you still have to be a human, an adult after that experience. And, I didn't want that to necessarily scar me. I wanted it to be like just another little piece to our puzzle of life, that we're building, and not be something that I think for a while I didn't really want to talk about it, but like now I'm just like, ask me whatever, because the way that I'm able to help others or say, hey, this is what worked for me in any way, I will give you whatever. I tell you what, I don't know. We get real personal. You felt the and any way that I can like just be honest and open with people where we didn't necessarily have anyone to really go to and just be 100% honest, that just starting with yourself is number one.
And I was gonna say, on the relationship tip, just give each other grace. Because a lot of times, she talked about communication. But a lot of times we kind of forget that this other person's going through it too. Whoever's carrying the baby, they may go through a physical change along with the mental change, but the other person's going through a mental change as well. And so it's tough sometimes to support somebody when you don't really know what emotions are going on. I mean, I think I have a gift to be able to kind of put myself to the side, but everybody can't do that, right? Some people have to figure out their emotions and know what they're going through to be able to say, all right, this is how I can help. But ultimately give grace to each other, because, on the other side of it, if you're carrying the baby, postpartum is real. And I know for me, I had to put my pride aside, right? Like, I don't know if every man has went through this, but my dad kind of gave me the whole, don't let nobody talk to you crazy, blah, blah. But sometimes, if that's the only way they can communicate it at the moment, let it happen. Because at least at the end of the day, all right, this is what's going on. This is how I can fix it. Or this is how I can make the situation better. Or even make it not acceptable, but just put it in a better state, right? And so those are some of the things that we have to think about, because we don't really think about it a lot of times. It's literally like, oh, we're just gonna go, or she's, because I ain't lie to you, like our first time going through, I was like, oh, Jen just being emotional. She's being emotional, right? Like it was like, oh, she was just being emotional. It was like, all right, whatever, you're just being emotional. But that was insensitive. She's being emotional because she's carrying a baby that is literally changing her emotions, changing her dynamics, right? Making internal things hurt that don't normally hurt, right?
Yes.
But again, that was me being immature and not understanding, all right, this is something that it goes through. And honestly, I think there also needs to be spousal support classes. Because as much as the woman needs to know this is what's going to go on with your body, that other person needs to know, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is something that you may have to help out, or there's something that, you know, you can help make the situation better. Because there's some people that want to be supported, but they don't know how to be supported. And they need to have that this is what it's going to be before actually going through it, because some people can't process well through the tough time. But again, grace, and I know it was a lot to say, grace, communication, and just understand that, hey, we're working through this together. And no two situations are the same. So.
Those were both perfect.
Yeah, they're really powerful things that I hadn't even really thought about. But no, seriously, like that was amazing advice. Y'all are so awesome. Like, thank you for being so transparent. And I mean, you taking us on a roller coaster ride. Like, emotions. I'm like, we in church too. Like,
I'm sorry. Like, I try to be like not churchy, but it's
this is what we need. People need
somebody gotta be.
It's like, hold on. You start getting that sway. That's how you know.
Listen, it's the
But thank y'all so much for just sharing your story and being a part of this. Just thank you.
So I guess we'll do an informal outro.
Okay.
So guys, if you haven't, well, first off, do y'all have any your social?
Oh yeah, social. Yeah, your social media. How do people follow you? How do people see your beautiful family? Like, your beautiful family.
Listen,
have you seen their pictures?
We both.
Yes.
They're gorgeous. The whole family is just gorgeous.
Oh, appreciate it.
So definitely, like, your business, just shout it out.
Yeah, well, I'll go first. I'm trying to get better at social media, but nonetheless, my personal social media is genesis.doubledee. That's it. But my business, I have a brand development business called Jackson and Porter. And you can just follow Jackson and Porter brand.
Yeah, she said she's trying to get better at it, but I'm the worst one. But I do have social media, Dion Doubledee, and go peruse, reach out. I'm 100% open book all the time. I love to help people, so this is one of our passion projects.
It is.
Just being transparent, because that's how real change comes, with being transparent. So. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just you search Dion Doubledee, you'll find everything.
It's not that many Doubledees, y'all. It's not that many.
Awesome. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's watching right now. Follow them, go check out their story, reach out to them, love on them. Just having this type of stories where you're able to witness the transparency and someone sharing with you and pouring into you. Just make sure that you're returning that love and just giving back. If you haven't, like, subscribe, share,
comment. If there was something specific that stuck out to you that the Doubledees shared, then comment down below. We'll interact, we'll share, and all that good stuff. So.
More NICU stories from other amazing couples will be coming throughout the remainder of the month. As always, thank you guys. Thank you. We love you, and we'll see you later.